What's going on, everybody? You're listening to a new episode of the Post Game Report podcast. So, on the PlayStation 5, there's a demo for Final Fantasy 16. I'm not a giant Final Fantasy franchise enthusiast. I'm not a hater of the franchise. I've played some of the games in the past, I played some of the newer iterations. Uh, I'm not one who will, and I have in the past, and the last one I believe I bought that I didn't like was Final Fantasy X. I could be wrong. It was the Final Fantasy with all the guys in the car and you drive around and stuff like that. While it was pretty good as far as a premise, particularly because it was a Final Fantasy game with different gameplay mechanics and it looked visually good. I just wasn't digging it at the moment. So I bought Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and that was really fantastic. And because of my brain injury, I can't finish a lot of games. So even though I bought it, I didn't finish it simply because the lighting, the movements were too fucking fast. It just combined with the brain injury, I just couldn't get through it. But I did play this Final Fantasy 16 demo that just recently came out. I figured, you know what? I don't have to pay for it. I might as well try it. Everybody on Twitter is talking highly about this demo. So let me give it a try. And it did have that gameplay from the previous Final Fantasy that I talked about, where it felt different. I believe, once again, Final Fantasy X, I could be wrong. And it wasn't that turn-based fighting mechanic. It was, all in real time. So you have dodging mechanics, you have block, all that good stuff, right? Kind of like Devil May Cry. So the story is what really captured me because it's a story about, betrayal and, of course, with Final Fantasy, there's powers and demonic powers. Well, not demonic powers, but people turn into these demons, into these larger-than-life characters. You even have a Titan that's in the demo. You don't fight it, but it's in there. And you have these powers that are, and these characters turn into these giant monsters, right? So one is a phoenix, one is a giant beast-looking type character. And you get into this fight. I mean, and I'm jumping all over the place, but the demo really captured me to the point where I'm like, should I buy this fucking game when it comes out? Because the story was so, it captured me. I know I said that before. But the story was really good. And if you have a PlayStation 5, definitely try it out. Because you think of Final Fantasy, you think of all of this melodramatic dialogue, and it's there. But if you watch anime, if you watch any Japanese film or TV shows, you know that is an integral part, melodrama and all that stuff, cheesy dialogue and things like that. But I tell you what, there wasn't much cheesy dialogue in this demo, and it has an M rating, and the M rating is put into good use. And visually, it looks really freaking good. The only problem with the demo at this time is that the frame rate jumps around, even in performance mode. And yes, there's a performance mode. There's an option for performance mode. I know I'm throwing jabs. So be it. So yeah, that's the only issue I have with this Final Fantasy demo. I thought it was me. I do have vision problems. My retina, it jumps around. It doesn't stay still. So it's always vibrating and text and things look weird. So if I stare at them, I get dizzy. So I thought maybe it was my vision playing tricks. But then I found out on the internet that there are frame rate issues. Will that be nullified? Will that be fixed when the final product is delivered? That remains to be seen. we all know that no matter who is the publisher, they tend to release games at a certain state that isn't quite 100%, and then they release patches not too far after release, unless you're Nintendo. So, and PlayStation does it once in a while. So, I highly recommend playing this demo. If you're not a fan of Final Fantasy, this might drag you in there. And also, it's in medieval times. So, you have a lot of, yes, my lord, and things like that. So, if you're not into that, if you're not into like the whole Game of Thrones vibes, then you may not like this. So, you might stay away from it. But I tell you what, once again, the story unfolds, and then you're like, wait a minute. I did like this gameplay, and I like the damn story. Holy shit, I might just buy this game. So, right now, I didn't pre order it. I am leaning towards picking it up. Once again, I did have issues with the demo because you do have a lot of shit going on. You have a lot of lighting, a lot of explosions, things that I had to look away from on screen. So I could only imagine that it's going to be the full game is going to be bigger. The explosions are going to be bigger. The action is going to be even crazier than what we saw in the demo. Would I be able to finish it? Would I be able to enjoy this game? That's the problem that I have. So a lot of times I wait for games to come out. I see how it is. I try to stay away from spoilers, but people will post video play on Twitter, on YouTube, and then I'll make a judgment. Like Returnal. I couldn't buy Returnal. I did play it when it hit the service on PlayStation. I believe PlayStation Plus Premium or something, like the top tier. And I was able to play it, and it was hit and miss. Like there was certain actions I was able to react on time, but then overall I couldn't react quick enough to like really enjoy the story. It's a tough game. So it requires a lot of timing, a lot of trial and error, and jumping sequences really fuck me up. Like even even the most basic jumps sometimes really give me the biggest challenge. It's like the most annoying thing. So with a game like Returnal, I couldn't play it. I knew that I could not play it and enjoy it and justify the $70, I believe, $70 price tag. Horizon Forbidden West, even the DLC, there were times with the jump sequences I was pissed off. I was annoyed as hell, but I was able to power through that one. Maybe because Returnal is more of a confined area and a game like Horizon is more open, so I can, you know, I don't have to worry about being confined in a small area and responding quickly. I don't know what it is. Like, for example, I finally bought Sifu, and in that game, you really have to be, you're now I'm starting to blank out. But your reflexes, your timing needs to be on point, and there's another one of those games where there's going to be trial and error. So everything is inside of, either a nightclub or a building, things like that. So I've been playing that game, but I'll play maybe an hour and then I take a break for about a month. That's the only way I get to enjoy that game. So I played it last week or so, or maybe a week and a half ago, after about 2 months. I played it, I completed a boss fight. I beat it after dying a bunch of times. And now I'm going to give it a break. So that's where my gaming is currently at. That's that's the new adjustment, the new life that I have to live with. And even movies are affected by it. I saw the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I believe, um, the new one, and it was a legitimate discussion. We had my family and I had a legit discussion over me going to see this movie. Number one, because of the crowd. Would it be crowded, and would the crowd be annoying, or would there be some screaming kids? Now, we saw this movie in Rhode Island, so we were hoping that Rhode Island's a little different than New York City. And then, of course, we had a discussion about, will I be able to handle the sound, and would I be able to handle what's on screen? So I told my wife, if we can find seats that are, and this is pretty tough to determine, like if seats are aligned with, the mids at a movie theater, the speakers seated in the middle of the theater because they want to give you that surround sound. We've never been to this theater before. So I said, let's try to get seats in the middle where I'm not directly under any speakers, and hopefully when there's something crazy going on screen, I can turn around or close my eyes in time to where it doesn't affect me. And there were a few moments I had to turn away. There were a few moments I definitely had to turn away. But overall, I truly enjoyed the movie. It was, my family and I, we joke around about this word phenomenal. Because, and just to give you an inside joke, the word, a lot of guys in the Bronx love to use the word phenomenal to describe like a beef patty or something. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a phenomenal movie. I mean, the art style is just so unique. It kind of reminded me of back in the days of heavy metal, the cartoon heavy metal. If you're not my age, which I'm 51, you may not remember Heavy Metal, the movie. It was an animated movie, very R-rated. But the art style for Across the Spider-Verse is just unbelievable. I mean, there were times when I was looking at it and I'm like, wow, this looks like a real character. It's just so crazy how they did it. And then, of course, the music and the story, of course. Miles Morales with his family. Those stories are always freaking great, especially because I'm Puerto Rican and his mother is Puerto Rican. So there's a connection there. And it was nice seeing, there was a part, without giving away spoilers, where there's a big family party and you see both cultures there. So it was really nice. So I highly recommend that. But yeah, it's video games and movies, even at home. Even at home, if we're watching something, I got to turn around for certain scenes. I remember there was, I believe, actually, the God of War Ragnarok. Every time I went into the portal, there would be this white freaking screen. Every time that happened, I had to turn away. Every time. So yeah, that's just the life I lead right now, and you got to make adjustments. You got to, for me, I'm hard headed and it took me a while. I'm like, no, I'm going to persevere and I'm going to fight through this. And then I made myself worse. So at a certain point, you got to listen to your body and say, you know what, this is it. But the fucked up thing is, the part in my body that was telling me, no, we got to persevere, was also the part that was damaged, which is my brain. So it was like my brain was fighting. The small remnant of my old self was fighting to stay alive, while the new rerouted part of my brain was like, nope, that's not gonna happen, brother. Hulk Hogan voice, So yeah, check out the Final Fantasy 16 demo. Check out Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And then on TV, my brother hit me up and he was like, yeah, man, there's nothing new on TV. I'm thinking of checking out this show on HBO called Barry. And I was like, yeah, I'm always seeing the damn previews for that or the advertisements, but I never thought about watching it. I'm going to check it out. And so my wife and I, we checked out the first episode. Actually, we checked out the first episode. We didn't finish. We finally finished the first episode, and I'm like, yo, this is a crazy ass premise. It's about a hitman who decides he wants to be an actor. It's a quirky premise, but I tell you what, it's a dark comedy. But there are some action scenes there that is like, yo, for a dark comedy, this is like a crazy ass action sequence that could be in a big budget movie. My wife and I, we powered through all 4 seasons of Barry. Now, each episode is maybe 30 minutes. Some of them about 26 minutes. So it's a pretty quick watch. Man, I tell you what, David Hayter, wow. The dude is a genius. He's a funny guy. He does great voice impersonations, but I had no idea that he was such a talented director, and he's the creator of this show as well. So check it out. It's on HBO. It's called Barry. Not to give away anything important, but there's a scene where 2 big-time drug dealers are trying to get like this group of rivals together. So they take them to a Dave and Buster's, and they're giving this fucking speech about how it's better to be together because we'll make more money and it's better than killing each other, blah, blah, blah. And they're using one of the area party areas that you would use for a party, like a birthday party, right? So the waitress comes over, and they're talking about, they're just talking about like killing each other, blah, blah, blah. And she comes over, and she goes, "Oh, can I get you guys anything?" And then one of the big bosses, he whispers to her and goes, "Can we get an order of jalapeno poppers, please?" I mean, just the way he delivered that shit, and the fact that if you think of where they're at, Dave and Buster's, and they're with a bunch of like bona fide murderers and killers and drug dealers, and this motherfucker whispers softly, "Can we get an order of jalapeno poppers, please?" Like it was little things like that that cracked me the hell up. So I highly recommend watching Barry. It was a damn sleeper for me. I'm sure a lot of people, I mean, it won awards. So it wasn't like it was a show that went under the radar. It was just, I never thought of watching it. And luckily, there are things like that still available on TV because, after a while, once you start watching everything, you kind of run out of things to watch. So definitely check out Barry. You're going to enjoy it. It is a dark comedy with some dark drama. There's a scene with a with a martial artist and his daughter. I mean, that was one of the funniest things I've seen on TV in quite some time. And I can't spoil that for you guys. So if anything, watch that particular episode. I forgot the number and the season for that episode, so you're gonna have to just watch it. And if you do, let me know. As a matter of fact, let me know if you've played Final Fantasy 16, if you watched Barry, if you watched Spider-Man Across the Metaverse. I mean, not Metaverse, Spider-Verse. Now I don't know if I've been calling it Across the Metaverse this whole time. So, once again, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Let me know if you watched that. And let me know on my Twitter. It's at JV Beta Photos. Let me know what you think of all of these recommendations. If I'm off with these recommendations, let me know, and then I'll stop. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys take care. Talk to you later.